Hello, Mukul sir. Welcome to the session. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. My best wishes to our friends from Germany as they are going through uh, comparatively a rough phase as far as this flooding is concerned. And very good morning to Professor Suva also.
Good morning, sir. I'm very glad to see you again.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so much, sir.
taking your time and to be with here on our session. We are
Thank you. My
very
pleasure.
honored. Thank you, and hello also to the Indian group. Nice to see you. And so today, we would like to
Camera
present
is
you
on ही
the results of our common endeavor. So first of all, students worked individually on projects for a little micro architecture in stone. So departing from our idea to collaborate on something which could be understood as a demonstration of the potential of stone architecture today, we gave this design task to all students, and they came up with tremendous work. So we were overwhelmed by the inventiveness and cleverness of these constructions. And since it was a huge group, an Indo-German group, we then encouraged students to form little teams according to their affinities and sensibilities, which we could see in the design. They came up with a smaller amount of schemes, which we today would like to present to you. And it would be fantastic if we can move on this and even think about the manufacturing of such a stone pavilion, which could show actually to a larger public what can be done today with stone. What are the potentials? What is the constructive advantage? And also perhaps what is interesting in terms of sustainability, because we all know that we have to work on CO2 dumping. We have to reduce the amount of energy invested into construction. So interestingly, stone appears again as a relatively sustainable material. Actually, there's an interesting example of a house built in stone in Paris. And there's a little book which we also consulted here. So stone is back. And of course, we all enjoyed to think about the potential of ornamentation, of decoration, of material appearances. And this all was explored through the student work. So that's what we did since we met last time in the webinar. So very fruitful and intense work in the meantime.
So Kiran sir had to go for an emergent meeting. He will try to join us shortly. I have requested him. Yeah, and I could share, the brief overview of what we are doing in groups, like those four prototypes. I had shared the summary with the experts beforehand. So yeah, let's wait for a few minutes then. I suppose.
Mukul sir, could you share perhaps with us something about your background again? The importance of stone in India. I think it would be great to have some details on your activity as somebody who promotes stone. Perhaps a few words.
Sure. My pleasure. Basically, if you recall my presentation about 2 3 months back, I'm Chief Executive Officer, Center for Development of Stones. It's a promotional organization which is working for the to develop, promote, and support stone industry in India. Though we are working on. Kiran sir has also joined. So, sir, good morning. How are you?
Morning. Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. So we are working to promote the stones through many of our initiatives. Many of them are related to architects as well. And just to share with you, though it's in a bit early stage, but again we are coming up with a coffee table book very shortly, maybe in a month's time on exotic stones of Rajasthan. Many new varieties have come up, and we are trying our best to promote all such varieties through this publication. So as I said, there are many initiatives which are related with architects. We are organizing their visits to various stone clusters so as to acquaint them with the available resources in Rajasthan. Many of the architects are not aware about various availability of various stones, their finishes, the sizes, and many other related aspects. So we are inviting architects from all across the all across the country, and then we are taking them to various stone clusters in Rajasthan. Due to pandemic, this physical activity is at a halt now, and fortunately or unfortunately, we are now undertaking the webinars, the virtual architect visit to stone clusters. The concept is more or less same, wherein we are inviting the people from industry to showcase their products or projects as well to the architects who are joining us on a webinar. In addition to that, we have a award for stones, which is known as All India Stone Architectural Award. Again, to promote the usage of stones the usage of Indian stones. And for last few years, this award is open for foreign architects as well. But the only condition is that they have to use Indian stones in their projects. I mean, the entry should have the usage of Indian stones. We are also organizing an international exhibition by the name India Stone Mart, and again, unfortunately, due to pandemic, we have to postpone it twice, and now the next edition is scheduled in February 2022. So hopefully by that time, this situation will improve, and hopefully we will have a gathering of the industry people as well as architects, because during that 4 days period also we also organize one of our flagship events by the name Jaipur Architecture Festival, in which we invite many architects from India as well as abroad. So these are basically the some of the activities which we are undertaking right now, and there are many other activities, but for this forum, I think this is sufficient from my side.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mukul sir, to share with us the background of your activities and the promotion of stone. A warm welcome also to Kiran Trivedi, who is now with us. Hello, sir. Nice to see you again. Thank you for being with us and sharing your time with us.
Yes, sir, thank you. I know you're busy with an emergent meeting, so thanks a lot for joining.
Thanks, Smriti. I'm sorry, but I just forgot the time. So I suddenly stopped somewhere in the one architect's office right now, and who is doing my landscape and office there in the at Abu Road place. So I said, "Can I use your office?" So I'm using his office now. Yeah. Okay, please.
Yeah, so we just briefly introduced what students did in the meantime. When we last met on the webinar, we started to give design tasks to all students. They first worked individually on a microarchitecture, a little stone pavilion, which could be thought as a promotion or a showcase of the potential of stone, both in constructive or ornamental aspects. And after working, coming up with interesting solutions individually, students formed little groups, teams, according to elective affinities and their sensibilities. And so we are now with a smaller amount of objects and designs, which we would like to share with you today.
Yeah.
And also to evaluate, perhaps together with you, the constructive details and the making of such a small pavilion, which could be also a promotional pavilion for the advancement of stone architecture in India. So I would like to invite students perhaps to share their screens and start with the presentation of the work.
Good, and Surendra, would you like to start if you're ready?
Yes, sure.
I will share the screen, and thank you everyone for taking the time. And I think, Medina, you need to allow me still to share the screen. Yeah, now it works. Perfect. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this first pavilion is from Od, Suryandu, Raman, and me. Yeah, let's start.
Yeah. So the concept of the design was developed from two very celebrated structures, one in India and the other in a more global context. So the first one is the Mundeshwari temple in Bihar, which is one of the earliest temple which is still functional in India. And the other one is the Vatican Chapel by Soto, and which is basically a pavilion, which was designed as a pavilion, and it was meant for a space of reflection and reverie, if that can be said. So while the first, the Mundeshwari temple is one of the earliest example of the Nagara style of temple architecture in India. It is basically a plain sanctum sanctorum, which is freestanding, and in its very basic design, it creates a space to connect with the greater consciousness. While the similar concept can be seen in the Vatican Chapel, where a similar kind of space, which is very plain, which is very simple and universal, can be seen through the creation of a stone pavilion, where the space gives a scope of reflection and meditation. So this concept has been taken in this concept has been taken in the design of the stone pavilion, which we have created. And the simple stone walls are again reflecting the same universality of material and aesthetics, which will give that similar space for such reflections. Again, the materiality is another significant aspect of the development of the concept of this stone pavilion, where critical regionalism is one of the materiality, in fact, is one of the critical elements of critical regionalism. And so the material for this stone pavilion has been chosen as sandstone, which is one of the most celebrated architectural construction element in India historically, as well as in contemporary times, due to its beautiful aesthetics, the workability of the material, as well as its easy availability. And that aspect has been taken as as an if I can say, an identity of Indianness in this globally, if I can say, in a global perspective, and this transcending architectural style. So that connects the international elements of the stone pavilion with the Indian context of it. So this is the concept which we have tried to incorporate in the design. For the construction part, I would request Philip and Aude.
For the construction, we begin with the assembly of the bench. It's split in 3 items and each lay down on the back element. The bench allows the placement and connection of the 8 slabs. At the end, we add the roof element on the top of the pavilion. Next page, please. For the system, each slab is equipped with 2 bolt anchors. These are provided with loop nut to allow the slabs to be transported and placed in the right position. When 2 slabs are set up, the loop nut are removed and replaced for more safety as a steel T-form connection piece to improve the stability of the pavilion. And this connection piece is also used for the right placement and the stability of the 3 lattice roof elements.
Yeah, here we can see once again the detail. And what interested us in this pavilion was trying to show a bit the material culture that humans apply on treating stone. So what we suggest for the wall slabs that they come in different kind of treatments. So some wall elements are kept rough hewn, so it somehow resembles again the mining process that comes from the quarry, and it's open to a tactile sensation and visible as well. And as a second layer of refinement, some wall elements can be more flat, like cut by a saw. And as a third layer of refinement, there comes what we thought was CNC milling for the lattice work on the roof, which somehow resembles a very simple kind of ornament. And in the ornamentation part, what interested us was once this idea that Kent Bloomer introduced in the nature of ornament, that an ornament confers grace upon an object. So in a certain sense, this lattice work has a certain kind of beauty. And then again, the light that comes through, of course, it's changing. When the pavilion is set up in different places, light will play different roles. So we did 2 kind of really simple sun analysis for New Delhi and Aachen at 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. So we can see, of course, there's some sort of ornamentation by light on the wall, and once again, light and shadow is broken differently on the different surfaces. So it's not only open to tactile sensation, but also it becomes visually apparent that in treating or manufacturing or working with stone, different steps are taken in this process, and somehow this pavilion comes mediate this process maybe. And I think that's it so far. Yeah.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you for this presentation, dealing with light, grace, the projection, and also the materiality. So perhaps we can open the discussion on this, collect some reactions from our guests.
What's the height of this one, the first slab, up to the roof? Pavilion height?
The total height of is 2 meter 14 centimeters.
2 meter 14 centimeters. Okay.
So you can comfortably walk in, yes.
Yeah, comfortably. Yeah, so in my opinion, it can be easily made. There is no problem in this. It's a decent design and it can be done. And one more question, that why in the bottom when you have taken the tongue groove type, so what's the need of this? Can we take this straight line? Because I don't know how it's going to help. Yeah, that part.
You have staggered the joints.
You have staggered the joints there. So do you need basically if we hold the stone from the bottom somehow, and if we are holding the stone on the top, it's not going to topple. In this case also we have to hold it from the bottom, maybe say few inches, so it does not move. But if you like, if it is a design part, then it's fine. If it is a structural part, then I think we can take the straight joint also.
I see. Yeah, I think it was, of course, also like a structural idea of us, so that somehow the stones.
So we can keep it like this, and in my opinion, as the structural part, the straight line. If there is a straight line, the structure will stand there.
Yeah.
But
then I think
your design, it is good. So
yeah,
it can be both ways, and this can be manufactured, and we have almost the same color of sandstone what you are presenting on computer.
That's nice to hear. Yes.
Yeah. Almost same color. Do you have picture another? Okay, but we have this, and this job can be done easily. So if any question from your side, then just we need some detailing on the roof side. What you have taken is open. So
I think the jali
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mukul sir, would you like to react on it, or perhaps we had to leave? Okay, so yeah, thank you for your presentation and your reaction. So perhaps we can move on to the next scheme, the second group.
We can go next, maybe. We had a little different approach, and our group was at first Ranjal, Parshant, Alexandra, and me. And our approach was to come from another direction. We thought more we had in mind that it would be nice to have a stone exhibition inside the pavilion. So there is the pavilion itself, and then there is this exhibition. And we summed up the goals our pavilion wants to achieve. And it wants to be easy to set up to the smart land to ship, because it will be a traveling pavilion. It wants to reflect the process of traveling by picking up exhibition elements at each stop. It wants to show local stone culture and craftsmanship through this growing exhibition. It wants to offer a flexible space for the exhibition as well as for other activities. It wants to offer the viability to create a new shape with every new setup. It wants to connect with the traditions of stone architecture. And last but not least, it wants to be a modern stone pavilion. And while thinking about how this all fits together, we thought about a flexible wall was our solution. We got inspired by the Jali walls. And what was very important for us, that it was possible with our modules to create different floor plans at every new spot the pavilion travels to. So maybe we are in Roorkee, the pavilion gets the shape, the people who set it up in Roorkee. have in mind, and when it travels to another destination, then the people who are there and maybe want to present the pavilion in a different way and want to highlight other pieces of the exhibition, so they can come up with a different shape and maybe react to the buildings surrounding the pavilion. And this is the concept for the floor plan. And for the wall itself, the elements should play with the light and shadow. So this is the jolly part. And the more the pavilion travels, the more of these holes will be filled in with different kinds of stone from the region, where we can show the variety of stones available at the region the pavilion stands right now, and the local craftsmanship. So there's a possibility to build in ornaments in the stones and show what is possible in working with stone. And when the pavilion goes to the next destination, it takes all this heritage from its last spot to the next spot and shows where it already has been. And for this wall, we created a modular system. And to make it possible to make this flexible floor plans, we thought about a rotating system. So we have this base module, and in the connection between the base module and maybe a pillar module, there is this joint part, and so the pavilion can rotate through the spots and still has this hole in the middle where the exhibition can happen. The next part, we thought about the manufacturing. So it was said that it would be best to deal with leftover pieces from the quarries. So we thought about a small module that can be carried by hand. So we don't need big machines at the site where the pavilion should be built. And it would be nice to, if the element is smaller, we can deal with smaller leftover pieces from stone. And we thought of two different types of stone because they are very available in India. We were told for the base module and the pillar module, we thought about sandstone because it's less heavier than other kinds of stones, and it's easy to manufacture. And for the joint module, we thought about marble because it's stronger, and in the part of the joinery, there has to be, in our opinion, a stone which is not as soft as sandstone, for example. So here marble, and the pieces are quite small, like 10 to 10 centimeter for the joint piece. And the base model, for example, is like 15 to 80 to 30 centimeters. So it really can be made out of smaller pieces. And if they're bigger pieces, you can just saw them and then cut them in the right shape. And the exhibition elements can be actually made out of any kind of stone. So they should be made of any kind of stone to show the possibilities in working with stone. And then we thought about the shipping, and so we said for the pavilion, we say we have like seven pallets with elements, and we thought about two types, two versions of modules. We want to discuss with you what you are thinking is the better one, but in each so for each pavilion, for each version, we have this like seven pallets with base modules, and one pallet with the pillar modules, and then one pallet packed with our joint elements. And in total, it would be like 11 tons, but it's very flexible because we can also deal with less pieces or with more pieces, like we will show you in the next part, because now we show you an example for what can be made out of these elements. Harshan, sir?
Hello. So I had tried to follow up and take the inspiration from the Indian Buddhist stupa. and taking into consideration the fencing, the stone fence around it, around the main stupa, and the kind of gated entry which is there. So I just wanted to give an impression, though not exactly the same, but which follows the basic idea behind this heritage monument. So I had arranged it in a fashion so that it has two cores, one outer core and the inner core, which are actually different from what, which makes it easier and different while perceiving it from the outer side and the inner side. And I have also tried to in differ up the void sizes at different places so that the varying shapes of objects which are to be displayed inside the pavilion and can be kept up quite handily. And also uh, the structure is going in a form of a curve, uh, and at few places this curve on the outer side has even managed to provide sitting spaces for the people inside. And then also to keep the lighting option sustainable, as as told to us by the experts. So we have tried to give in the lighting through earthen lamps. And so this is the basic plan, uh, a circular fashion of a fencing, which not only provides up an outer fencing, but also holds up certain members of the inner core and provides a more structural stability to the inner side. And these are the elevations which are produced. And then according to, as we have already told, that it is quite versatile to make different arrangements and to give thought and to process up your thought process by using up these modules in the form of Lego. So these are the various kinds of arrangements which we have tried to create through these modules. The first one being it's, in the form of G, and then we have a straight line arrangement for the modules with a curvilinear method, and then we have an interlocking kind of an arrangement, and the fourth one which I just discussed with you. So at different places it actually provides up a different appearance according to the skill sets and according to the thought process which all the people at the assembly place would be having. So this almost finishes our presentation.
Okay, yeah, thank you to this second group of Pranjal, Harshant, Gerion, and Alexander, who propose a modular system with many parts that can be assembled according to local requirements or ideas, and having the possibility to display within the interstices stone samples which can show the variety of Indian stones. So we would be grateful for reactions on this.
Sir, would you like to go first if you're here? Mukul sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Would you like to go first?
For me, this is a wonderful design. I mean, they have provided 4 options for assembling the entire modular structure. So it's a wonderful initiative by the students. I mean, from an architect's perspective, I am not an architect, so I cannot comment from that perspective. But as far as a layman is concerned or a general person is concerned, this concept is very good. Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Kiran, sir, would you like to
Yeah,
react?
it's a very good design. It's lovely design. I appreciate the designers. It's done very well. I would like to know just how much a single piece is going to weight. What is going to be the weight of a single piece approximately?
The
Like
smaller modules weighed about 67 kilograms with sandstone as material. So the
67
module, what is, 80.
Okay. See, the manufacturing, as far as we are the manufacturers of this kind of stones and all, is quite easy. Only once we do practically, once we manufacture with the sandstone and all, we have to check where you put the marble dowels inside the pin while shifting again and again. Once we dismantle and when we fix it again in the different shape or carrying one place to other place, we may have to go for steel SS pins instead of stone pin, and we may have to give a SS cover also, which goes inside the pin. So the stone will not be damaged. Otherwise, once we use many times, then stone can get some play inside. So once we can try, it's a trial and error, but we can do it. Yeah. So this pin, maybe we can think. I'm not sure right now. We can try with the marble or granite pin, which goes inside what you have shown here, the connecting pins.
Would you even think that it's necessary to protect the hole by a cylinder of steel?
Yes.
Because I think sandstone might also be a bit vulnerable or break at the border.
Yeah, once we we have to check once. I mean, there are some other method that once we do the sandstone, after that, the same age we can protect with the epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
So once we put the epoxy inside, epoxy will prevent it from any damage. Mm-hmm. That part will become hard, the inner part. So that way also we can protect. If we don't want to use any steel, just marble and same sandstone, it can be done. I think the total height is around 10 feet, what I assume.
Mm-hmm.
As per the scale, the total height is going 10 feet, right?
Yes, sir. The maximum
around
one is
3 meters.
$10 feet is fine, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. No, whatever is their height as per the designer side, but approximately when we go up to that height, it is good. We can assemble it in the factory, few pieces. If we think that, okay, this single connection is not good, maybe we can think of providing a single pipe and we can pour it inside all the pieces.
Yeah, I think the advantage beyond the variety to which it opens is also that the wall design stabilizes the shape. I mean, in creating, etc. and kind of lines. So I think it looks very good. Yeah.
So it's nice design and it's achievable.
Thank you for this positive reaction. And we would like to go on with the third group, which I invite.
Sorry to interfere. Mukul sir had some observations regarding the first presentation, which he had to leave in between because of an important call.
Oh, okay. Sorry for this. Yeah, please, Mukul sir.
Smriti, I'm sorry. I haven't seen the first presentation entirely. After first slide, I have to leave for an urgent call.
Okay.
So it would not be appropriate to comment for something which I haven't seen properly.
Sure, sure. We can come back to it later probably and just run
Definitely.
through briefly. Okay, all right.
Okay, so maybe we can go on then. Then I'll share the screen just a second. Okay, I hope it's visible now. Yeah, so our pavilion is based on the concept of urban mining, which means that all materials used for this pavilion are meant to be recycled or derived from production waste. So we thought about a pavilion which consists of a steel structure, which is covered with stone tiles, which derive from production waste. And different kinds of stone tiles can be used to create the outer layer of the pavilion. For example, schist tiles or slab limestone, um, basically any type of stone which can be cut into thin tiles. And the steel for the supporting structure can be reused and recycled from demolished buildings. And yeah, so our pavilion consists of 3 outer shells and 6 inner shells, which are basically made of or constructed by the same principle, this steel substructure and the stone tile covering. And we think that the steel frame can be prefabricated and welded in a factory. So we can reduce the construction time on site. And afterwards, the stone tiles just need to be attached on the exhibition site. And so the goals we wanted to achieve are to see the pavilion as a collection of Indian stones, and the pattern of the stone tiles creates the ornament of the pavilion. And the second goal was to generate reference between inside and outside, and we achieved this by decreasing the amount of tiles at the top of the pavilion. And this dematerialization adds a second layer of ornament to the pavilion, because the light can drip through the holes between the tiles, and so on the inside there will also be a pattern of light created by these holes. And those are the floor plan and the elevation or the perspectives of the pavilion. So here you see the 2 different options, or different options how the pavilion can look like. I think I forgot to mention that we want the outer layer, so the 3 shells which are on the outside layer, we want them to be stable. And the 6 shells on the inner layer will be movable with wheels on the top and on the bottom. So this pavilion can be moved like according to an observatory, where you can move the entrance and close the pavilion if the spectator wants it, or open it manually. And so the pavilion can have different appearances. Yeah, and those are the elevations, with here again with different options of opening or closing the pavilion. And this is our section. We want to lay the found the pavilion on or maybe we can explain it better in the details. Rosa, would you like to take over this part?
Yes, of course. So maybe I'm just briefly going to explain how we think the pavilion could work construction-wise. So at the top, there will be basically one metal ring, which is like a steel plate. And to that, the inner circle and the outer circle is fixed, or those steel frames. And the outer shell, which, as we said, will be consisting out of 3 parts. And they are here at the top, connected by an U profile where the whole steel structure is fixed to, will be then connected to this metal inner circle, inner metal circle, and then down from there, there's the inner parts, the 6 parts that have a little distance to the top part so that they can easily move. And then there are rail tracks here at the on the side, so the rows will go along this track, and then there will be a wheel part where then it's like a fixed stick to it, so that from there the steel frame will be attached to, and then this can be moved. And then to see how it looks at the bottom here, there's the one part where we have this whole round steel profile, where in the inner part there is the rail track, so that the wheels can be put in there, and from that there will be a L-shaped profile stuck to it, so that the steel frame can be on that, and then it is completely fixed by that, but the wheels will still be able to move. And then on the outer part of this circular steel structure, there will be the fixed part to it, so that it makes it stable and it cannot be moved as much. And then, of course, there will be the opening parts, if you look at the right, where there's not the fixed steel shell. And there we will have some hollow profile so that you won't step into a hole when you get into the pavilion. So basically that's the main structure. Maybe we go further to, yeah, okay, so this is the small calculation on how much the steel framework would weight and how much the tiles would weight. Should I just continue presenting everything, or does anyone else want to continue presenting?
Yeah, I don't know if Ruta is connected. Maybe.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So here we have considered average density because we are considering 4 or 5 types of stones. So average density is considered and calculated. Next slide, please. For assembling these outer frames and outer and frames member will be numbered as shown in this image. We prefer not to number stone pieces so that we can have different appearances every time we assemble this pavilion. But for a quick installation, we can number these stone tiles too, following the same number pattern. For example, a number extension of its holding horizontal member. Then these stone pieces would have holes drilled to it with metal hooks tied to them. All these pieces can be collected and stacked together. The rails can be dismantled into 2 or 4 parts for easy transportation, and these man framework would be easy to transport as it's just about 3 to 5 feet wide. So this is to show the sequence of installation. First, the bottom rails can be fixed. Then each framework of outer and inner shells can be fixed. Then once the framework is ready, we can hang those stone tiles from bottom to top. This pavilion can be completed by repeating this for all frameworks. The same way, the pavilion can be dismantled too in a reverse manner, in which stones from 3 fixed modules will be removed first, followed by the stones on the 6 sliding modules for ease of removal. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. So that's from our side.
Yeah, thank you to your group. Very interesting work. We discussed it a lot in terms of a kind of textile structure and the transformation of waste into a delightful surface. So yeah, if you would like to react on it.
Perhaps, in my view, the only issue is movement of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Perhaps, in my view, the only issue is regular movement of inner elements. I mean, when what is the difference between the inner wall and the outer wall?
It's basically just the size of the shell. It's smaller than the outer one.
No, what's the gap between inner and outer shell?
Oh, okay. It's about 15 centimeters, I think.
Okay, it's roughly around 6 inches. Okay, fine. So the only issue is like when you are continuously moving the the inner walls. I mean, just the issue is with the stone samples which you are putting in. I mean, they are constantly on move. So instead of moving all the 6 elements, all the 6 inner walls, I mean, if you can fix 4 of them, or maybe, I mean, this is just an idea. And what exactly the thickness of each element? I mean, the stone specimen on the walls.
You mean the size of the stone tiles?
No, the tiles are of random size and irregular shape as well. That is not an issue. I mean, it's a wonderful concept. You are not going for a homogeneous type of sizes. I'm talking about the thickness of the material.
I think we thought about tiles which are about 2 centimeters thin. I think it's somehow the regular thickness of schist slabs.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
This reminds me the house of Eskimos. Thank you.
Are there more reactions to it? Kiran,
Yeah.
if you would like to.
See, in my opinion, no, the design is fantastic, and no role of the stone manufacturer, because you just need the waste of the stones, and just you can build some pens inside and hang it. It's a nice concept, and while you are moving also the inside part, it's interesting. When the stones move, you can listen some music. I mean, they're going to clash with each other, and there's going to be a nice sound when you move, and you are not going to move it very fast. You are going to move it slowly. So I don't think any problem. It looks very nice. Nice design.
It reminded me a bit observatories, you know, to open up the cupola and to see the stars at night. So I think there are many references.
Beautiful design. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It looked the most wonderful in Rajasthan, gazing at stars at night.
Yeah, we call it dhani in the local language. If you remember, the right word is for this is the dhani which we used in the desert area, like in Jaisalmer and all. they make in this shape.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, unfortunately, at night, there's a lot of pollution and kind of polluting light, so we don't see anymore the stars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. We can move on, I think, with the fourth group.
So we will continue with, in our group, Vesela, Dhruv, Varun, and Chandradeep. We try to work on the tectonics of the stone. So in the very beginning, as an introduction, the cultural inspiration. It was firstly we try to find a geometry that is often saw in India, and we wanted to go back to the building of the arcs and to emphasize different spaces that. We added some different important buildings, and also what inspired us a lot was the ornament, and it's a nice cultural thing, and also that shows identity to the place to where it's built. As a design concept, we started firstly to define the space that is 3 times 3 meters, and try to make the geometry that fits to it. Our stone pavilion has a basic structure of function, and the material qualities will be showcased in the form of an arc. The heavy and robust structure of the stone is emphasized in its simple geometry, and it goes back to the time how we use the stone and just try to build the structure also depending on the statics. The orthogonal addition of the two arcs becomes one module of the pavilion, and so it offers spaces inside the pavilion and underneath it. So there are spaces in between. We try to modify the shape so we could make it more lighter, and we tried to exemplify the notion of lightness also by trying to reduce the weight on the top. So when the light falls to the pavilion, it also emphasizes a holy character. The elements, the 4 elements, are held from the keystone in the middle, and we decided to also make the ornamentation, which the ornaments we decided to make on the sides of the pavilion. So this, as I said, that it shows identity and differentiates depending on which country that it's built. And for us, it also exemplifies the notion of the lightness. We try to define different shapes and try to use also like programs to make the right prototype, and by also defining how many types of arms we want to use. We tried with 4 and 5, and also try to modify the lightness so the pavilion also tries to have this lightness in the top. Also, you can also see the space inside of the pavilion. It can be used for different also as an exhibition, or as a place for yoga, or as a place for meditation. And also it has no roof, so it is like defined from the space that you are inside, but you feel that you are also in the outside. Also, in these variations that we did before we decided the one, was really important to see what's the view when you sit inside the pavilion. So does it reduce the light, or it's heavier in the if you see it through the sky? So we wanted to open it a little bit, and so we came up with this prototype that we have these two arcs coming together that are held from the keystone in the middle. We use the ornamentation in the top, so it reduces to the ground as the light that falls to the pavilion, and also try to these big modules to also define this to cutting slices that will come after to the detail part. The view from the inside of the pavilion, it's when you sit inside, it would be like this. So as I said, that the weight reduction and looking to the sky and still feel protected, that you are in the inside, and it's enough space also for more than one person. Here there is this view when you go to the inside of the pavilion, so you see the light also to the sides, and the cultural identity. We didn't define the ornamentation. We just used firstly one how it would look like. For sure, it has it can also be defined differently, and like this. With the ornaments and the pavilion losing the weight through the sky, we try to show this lightness of this massive stone blocks. And Vesela, would you like to continue and talk about more?
Yes. Can you hear me firstly? Yeah. So here we see our plans. The pavilion is in its base 3.50 meters wide, and the space inside is 3 meters at the base in diameter, and then in the height it's 2.80 meters. Yeah, so we went a bit above the measurements that were given, so that we can create also enough space as a negative in the pavilion, yeah, for enough people. Yeah, so here you can see also the lightness on the top. So at the bases, the feet of the arches are 60 centimeters wide, and then they go up to 10 centimeters on the top. Yeah, I think we can go to the next slide. Yeah, here is our concept of how the pavilion will come together. Each arm of the arch is divided in 3 parts, and is connected through a curved joint, which we'll discuss later. And all the parts are then held up with a keystone in the middle. Yeah. So our idea of how the individual parts will be held together is without any mechanical joints, or without any mortar. We found a really nice concept that utilizes a rubber sheet between the joints, and also the joints have a curve that follows or not follows, but defies gravity, and creates an interlocking joint. We believe that in this way our pavilion will be easy to construct, but also then to deconstruct. Yes. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you for the fourth group for your presentation and showing us this very nice evocation of an inner space just indicated by arches. So we discussed it actually also as a Gothic contribution, also because of the catenary form of the arches, which are somehow ideal for conducting the forces into the ground without creating too much horizontal pressure. Thank you for this.
Are we waiting for Mukul?
Anyone
Please
may
go ahead,
start.
sir.
Okay. Yeah, see, again, this as far as the stone and all, it's a lovely design, nice concept, but you need the CNC machines to manufacture this. It can be done manually also, but you need the manual perfection frames. It can be done, we can achieve it manually or CNC machine both. And it's very nice design. And the best part here, I see that we are not using here the towels. And you are putting one part, one on other nicely with because of the shape and the rubber what they use. As far as the manufacturer, as a manufacturing, it is quite easy and it can be done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mukul, sir, would you like to react also?
I have nothing to add. I mean, Kiran sir has already provided his comments on the design, but again, a nice design. In fact, all the four are very good designs, very contemporary, but as far as the nuances of architecture is concerned, I'm sorry. To me, all the designs are very good. I mean, it is very nice and workable designs as well.
And in dowels also, you can have, we do sometimes when the outer joint is like the curve. And so we can have the outer joint, but inside we can put a small dowel if it is required, which will be hidden. So no one can see that what type of joint is inside, but outer you can see the same curve. So that's also a possibility as far as the designing is concerned. But this one, I also see the first time and I like it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what we are also had been discussing about during our design workshop is, of course, the feasibility. Yeah. And I'm really glad that you say that all four pavilions can be easily manufactured. So our concern was a bit, and we didn't discuss about it today, the soil or the basement or the foundation of it. So stone has a certain weight, and if we put it up somewhere, I mean, would you consider that there is the necessity of a ground preparation or a slab or something which is close to a foundation?
Just a light remix, not very heavy foundation. In all four designs, we don't need heavy foundation.
No.
Yeah, just a normal solid foundation is enough.
Mm-hmm. I asked because one of the criteria we gave to the students was that the pavilion should be moved from one trade fair to the next, or from one university to another to show actually as a nomadic pavilion, because you mentioned also the igloo, the Inuit houses, or we can also think about huts, and nomadic architecture would require dismantling and rebuilding, so from time to time. So that was also the reason why students calculated the weight of the elements and kind of thought about the deconstruction and reconstruction. Do you have any comment to this, or is there?
I think it's easy. Deconstruction is doable. We can do it. I mean, disassemble and again assemble somewhere else. Once we do it, maybe I can suggest for some hook system on the top to hold it when the pieces are big.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some hook system is required, then we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And how could we think about cooperation now? I mean, we have 4 designs, and if you consider them helpful in the promotion of stone or as a highlight of what can be done, is there any idea how we could go on now? I mean,
yes, we can. You can share the drawings and then or some part if you want to manufacture in my factory, I can do it for you. We can assemble the entire part. Or if your students they want to come here and see, but before that I have to. Before anyone comes, I have to study the entire pieces, how we are going, the method, the methodology, how we are going to manufacture it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the 4 designs we can do it, and not each design will take 1 week, not more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm considering the time.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. This is really a great offer. We would like to
want me to do some trial so you can send me the drawing. I can send you the video, how the machine is working.
Yes.
Given, and I can share the video how we are doing it.
Yeah, we are very much interested in this process of manufacturing, and it's of course a great learning exercise for us, how the design evolves into real matter. So this is wonderful. Yeah, great.
That gives pleasure to the designers also a lot.
Yes.
In fact, it would be nicer, like we can professionally shoot the making of the prototypes, and I would request you to also allow a professional team from our end to be situated, in the area in your workshop where it gets made and assembled, and his team could do the shoot also, like time lapse and other things from step 1 to step last, whatever it is. So details I can definitely discuss with you later.
Yeah, thank you so much.
From our part, we can provide space to this, be it in CDOS campus or maybe during the exhibition time also. Mm-hmm. I mean, exhibition is scheduled during February, so we have almost 6-7 months lead time from now. So we can definitely provide space to this entire project in the exhibition as well. And we have a permanent display center in CDOS, so these could be installed there also. I mean, after exhibition, they may be stationed permanently there also, or in case you want to shift them after some time, then that can also be possible.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much. I will also contact the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, and perhaps they are interested also to join.
Yeah, I think it's a very fruitful session, and I'm so happy to both the experts that they have not just accepted to be our knowledge partners, but they are extending this collaboration further and also offering us the industrial support. I'm extremely grateful for that. And yes, we can share all the drawings, and there will be a students team, perhaps also a few of the members who have designed continuing, communicating and explaining their designs further so that they can be executed on ground.
Yes, thank you again for also for your critical eye on the students' work. It was really extremely helpful because we navigate more in the space of drawings, and it's very important to get your opinion on the matter and the making of. So it's extremely helpful, and we will allow ourselves to contact you again, sending you more elements for the manufacturing and perhaps prototyping. Since there had been also more designs, we actually asked students twice, first to do their individual design and then to work in groups. So we almost forced them to accept the arranged marriage in these smaller groups. And so we would like, if you like, I mean, we can also send you the extremely interesting designs from the first round. So if you want to have an eye, and we can create a folder, and you can look at that too.
Yes, yes.
So we will also publish it, of course, on a online publication, so it won't be lost, all the work of the group. So yeah, thank you again, and thanks to all students to invest so much intelligence and energy into the work. Thank you also to Smriti to arrange this meeting, which was very fruitful, and I'm looking forward to talk to you again soon, and look forward to the extension of our work.
Like always, I have this small little request. Can we have all the cameras on? Just to click a screenshot.
Yeah. One can have.
Okay. Other people, Varun, Dhruv, Manas, Raman, Oshin, Chandar, Chetna. Would you like to switch on your cameras, please? Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2. Okay, Manas, thank you. Anyone else want to switch on your cameras? All right. Yes, thanks, Varun. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Great work.